Hi there. Let's see if I can help you understand illusions a little better in about 5 minutes. For this video, we're going to use Flannery O'Connor's A Good Man is Hard to Find because it's a story I often teach in my composition class, and I think a lot of teachers teach this one. So, illusions. Now, as you can see from the definition on the screen, an illusion is a hint to a historical person, place, an event, maybe another text, a work of art, a work of music. The point is that it is a hint that the author drops, hoping that readers will catch it. Flannery O'Connor drops a couple in A Good Man is Hard to Find. Let's take a look at them. The first one I want to point out is an obvious allusion. An obvious allusion is an overt hint to something, usually in the form of just a flat out obvious name drop. Take a listen. They passed the large cotton field with 5 or 6 graves fenced in the middle of it, like a small island. Look at that graveyard, the grandmother said, pointing it out. That was the old family burying ground. That belonged to the plantation. Where's the plantation? John Wesley asked. Gone with the wind, said the grandmother. Ha ha. When the children finished all the comic books they had brought, they opened the lunch and ate it. So here we have an overt, obvious allusion to Margaret Mitchell's novel Gone with the Wind. This is something that Flannery O'Connor's readers would have known intimately. It was a very, very popular novel. Flannery O'Connor knew it. It's likely that all of the passengers in the car knew it, and it's very, very likely that Flannery O'Connor's original readers knew it. So this would have been a really good allusion for her to use. Now let's take a look at a not so obvious allusion. This one, if you didn't catch it, don't feel bad, because really, it wasn't all that obvious. I call this the cute little pickaninny scene. Now, this is an allusion to the Bible, and my class is not a class on the Bible or religion, but from time to time, these things find their way into literature, and I think this is one of those instances. Let's take a listen to the passage out of A Good Man is Hard to Find. Oh, look at that cute little pickaninny, said the grandmother, and pointed to a Negro child standing in the door of a shack. Wouldn't that make a picture now? She asked, and they all turned around and looked at the little Negro out of the back window. He waved. He didn't have any breeches on, June Star said. He probably didn't have any, the grandmother explained. Little niggers in the country don't have things like we do. If I could paint, I'd paint that picture, she said. And the children exchanged comic books. So, this is an allusion to Matthew 25:31 through 46. Now, I'll just kind of paraphrase here. In Matthew 25, Jesus separates the goats and the sheep, and the sheep are blessed and welcomed into the kingdom of heaven, and the goats are damned to hell. Let's talk about why. You see, Jesus disguises himself as a pauper, somebody in need, poor, hungry, thirsty, tired, in need of shelter. And when he does this among the sheep, not knowing who he is, they take care of him. They welcome him in and they provide for him. Now, later on, Jesus welcomes them into heaven for their good deeds. And the sheep question, when did we help you, Jesus? We don't remember this. We never saw you. And he says, yeah, I was hidden among you as somebody in need. And you took me in not knowing who I was. And for that, you're altruistic. You're welcome in the kingdom. Now, when he disguises himself as a pauper among the goats, they turn their backs on him. He's there, he's poor, he's hungry, he's thirsty, he's disguised as somebody in need, and they don't help. So they're damned to hell for this. And when Jesus exposes himself as the pauper, well, the goats say, oh, if we had known it was you, we would have helped. And Jesus replies, that's my point exactly. You would have helped for reward, but you didn't help because you're altruistic, and for that, you're damned. So, if we look at O'Connor's text here, we have the family. They've got means. They've got a car. They're on a luxury drive. They've got comic books. We find out, they have food to eat. If you read the story closely, you'll find out they even have extra clothes in the car. And so they're driving through the country and they see this little boy in a shack with no pants. And given the opportunity to offer him something, and what they offer, that's up for debate, but given the opportunity to help, they do nothing. Instead, the grandmother, who poses as somebody very pious, just comments, oh, wouldn't that make a great picture? And they keep going on their merry way. Well, that sure sounds a lot like the goats. So this is something that's up for debate, but it's definitely worth thinking about. And something that has me thinking that this probably was an intentional allusion, take a look at the obvious allusion to Gone with the Wind. Right after it, Flannery O'Connor mentions comic books. Right after the biblical allusion, she mentions comic books. I think she was maybe putting up a little bit of a signpost for us to catch these things and somehow tie them together. What connection can you make? All right, there you have it. I hope this helps you understand allusions a little better. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email.